Hey, football fans, this is Gary Greene, longtime sports handicapper and professional sports bettor in Vegas for the past 35 years, and this is Gary Wins Videos, and this is one of your elite rivalry games for Saturday in college football to finish off the college football regular season. And we have 10-1 Texas taking on Texas A&M 8-3, and the line on this game is Texas 5.5-point road favorites. The total here is 48.5, and this game will air at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific Time on ABC, and this should be a classic. We got A&M coming off a crushing 4-overtime loss, just taping this now after the 8-overtime Georgia win over Georgia Tech. So these overtimes can get really, really crazy, and I would not even be stunned if this game ends up in overtime as well. But we're looking at a game here where this is the first time these two rivalry teams, close by proximity, will be playing in a decade. And there's no reason for that. These two teams should play every year. Texas, though, they have been sensational, folks. On the road, they've won 10 straight games. But this will be their toughest environment. This is the craziest 12th man in college football. This place will be absolutely electric. Night game. Wow. This is what you really love to wait for to see every single week. And now this game is for the winning team to go to the SEC championship game. It does not get any better than that, folks. For A&M, they've now won 5 straight games at home. They lost that tough opener, scratch and claw game the beginning of the season in Mike Elko's first game as head coach at Texas A&M, and they lost that game to Notre Dame on a kind of like a broken big play at the end of the game there, but that was tied up for most of the game, and that was a back and forth, close, tight-knit game, and I expect this one to be as well. Now, Texas is 10-1, folks, but they're not, to me, they're like the Kansas City Chiefs in the NFL, 10-1 team. They're winning the games, but it hasn't been what anybody expected. Definitely not me. This was a team that everybody picked to go to the national championship game, and they just really haven't gotten the job done on offense. That's the letdown, because the defense has been no letdown, folks. This defense is NFL beast men. This is big men beast defense. Number 3 in the country, and this is a defense that's really played well all year long. Now, this Texas team, though, they played poorly against Georgia, and that's really, for the most part, the only really loaded type team that they played all year, and we already see that there's a lot of nicks in the armor of the Georgia team. So they lost that game 30-15. They gained only 259 total yards offense, and you know, the tough news on top of that now is the quarterback, Quinn Ewers, has a badly sprained ankle. Now, if he doesn't go, it's not the end of the world, because they got Arch Manning in there, and he's played enough this year that he's got enough reps in that he can step in and win a game for you. No doubt about that. But A&M on offense, it's interesting because ever since they switched to the backup quarterback, Reed, this is now a really tough offense to contend against. So you got to, a lot of times, again, you got to throw stats away. And the stats from the beginning are not the type of team they are now. They run a completely different offense. And this Reed kid's really been a solid running quarterback when need be. And as far as A&M goes, with him in there, they were basically more of a predominant running team. The offensive line's big. It's a good run-blocking offensive line. 17th in the nation running the ball, 208 rushing yards per game. And you got to remember, there's a lot of teams like the Army, Navy's, teams that just run the ball all the time, so they're never going to be ahead of them in rushing yards per game when that's pretty much all they do. But this is going to be their stiffest test, because they're going against, again, this Texas defense, big-time men. This is not little league stuff. 104 rushing yards per game. They don't bend and don't break. They just don't even break. This is as good as it gets for a run defense. So Texas held Kentucky last week on 30 carries to 21 rushing yards. So you can see they are dominating. This is as good a run defense as I've seen in college football in many years. To me, though, the pressure is big time on the Texas head coach Sarkisian. This was the team. This was the year. Last year they get close. This was supposed to be the year that they easily go to the big or to the championship game and then get to the college playoff and then make their run. But they got to win this game now. And at 8-3, Texas A&M really wasn't expected to be going to the championship game, but a win here and they're going. So they can play loose. I believe they can take a lot more chances. I expect Texas to play a little tight due to the fact that the defense is so good. They're not going to allow the offense to blow the game for them. They're going to make sure that the defense keeps them in there, and they'll play field position whenever they can, because when you're on the road, it's a lot tougher. And that's why I'm a little surprised the line is a little steep at 5.5. Texas is the better team. But again, this environment is different. Saturday night, this place will be electric. When you watch this game, you will rarely ever see a crowd of this nature, this stature, loaded, just in sync, going crazy for every single second of the game. So we have A&M right now. The top part of this offense, especially with Reed, but overall all year, second in the country in red zone scoring percentage. In fact, they've scored 95% of the time, 43 of 45, 33 touchdowns. They will need to take advantage of every single opportunity that they get against Texas in this loaded defense. And I don't think they can settle for field goals. They got to get touchdowns. If they can get a couple of touchdowns, I think they have a chance to pull the upset. Now, if this game comes down, folks, to kickers, huge edge to A&M. Their kicker's a solid kicker, 19 field goals made this year. Texas's kicker, his name is Auburn, which is kind of funny. But he's 9 for 13 this year, but he's just 4 for 8 from 40 yards or longer. So if this game does come down to the end, like I think it may, to a field goal winning the game, you'd be a little bit more pressed and nervous if you were betting Texas as a Texas fan, or if you have Texas on the money line for this kid to make a long field goal, where I would expect that the A&M kid can make one from a little bit further out. But I think that the team that commits the least amount of turnovers and scores touchdowns in the red zone, that's the team that's going to win. And throw out the spread of this game. Again, this game is for all the marbles. That changed everything. It might actually be better for Texas that A&M has this opportunity to go to the Big 12, the SEC championship, because if they didn't, they would be really loose and they can do anything. They could be throwing every trick in the book at them and taking a shot, and if you lose, you lose. What's the difference? You end up 8-4 anyway. But now it's a winner-take-all game. This is going to be, to me, the best game of the weekend. It might not be the highest scoring game. This Georgia game's clearly the most exciting and wild game, and that's not going to be topped tomorrow by anybody. But I mean just a grind-out game with so much at stake. So enjoy this game. This is what you live for if you're a college football fan, because it doesn't get any better than that. Make sure you check out my other video that I did a preview on the Ohio State-Michigan game. And we'll be loading soon a preview for the Sunday night NFL game and the Monday night NFL game. And if you've been checking out all my videos, sadly, we finally lost with our prop pick streak record that we had going. We were 11-0, and Thanksgiving Day, we took 2. We went a little crazy with it. We took 2 shots. We won 1, and we lost 1. We easily won the Lions over 100 yards rushing. They had 85 after early, like 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, so you knew you were going to win that game, that bet. But the other one, will they get a touchdown rushing, yes or no? The running backs for the Lions, and I said yes. 3 times the Lions had the ball at the 1-yard line, and they did not run the ball once. And they didn't end up with a rushing touchdown, and that ended our streak. But we came right back in the Dallas game to win the next prop pick that we won. So I guess, you can't really complain. 13-1 and 14 prop picks this year on the videos. Not too shabby. So we'll have a prop pick for you on the Sunday night game. to make that interesting. And maybe a pick two. I haven't decided yet my final card for the NFL yet for this weekend. I always try to wait this late in the year with the weather situations and try to get as late a check as I can on injuries. We've had a phenomenal year. I've been if not number one in the nation in NFL picks for the last 15 years, in the top three. If there's two people better than me, and I get about 150 services picks, there's nobody even close. So we're going to try to hopefully have another big day. We had a big day again last week in the NFL, and the NFL's been good to us. We, although did lose a free pick on the Kansas City Chiefs, tried to give a preview and a pick on that game since it was a standalone game, and I try to give you a pick if I can, unless I just don't like it at all. But I'm stunned at the Kansas City Chiefs. Once again, another poor effort there today. They just can't get by anybody. This team's not going to the Super Bowl. No chance, zero. Not that good. And Patrick Mahomes moving down the list. I said he wasn't in the top 7 this year in quarterbacks. He's not in the top 10 right now. He's not having a good year at all. It's been abysmal. Offensive line's no good. And just don't have it. And it's probably overdue for them not to make it. So be good to see somebody else in it.